Played that kind of exploration app. Like radar, I said I can detect abnormal energy fluctuations. A few years ago, it had been popular for a while, so today's story is related to it, from the netizens' fearlessness to the light. This happened in early July 2011, when he was interning at a hotel, a star-level hotel that was just about to open. Using the hotel's renovation for several months to train new employees. The training content includes laying tablecloths, table manners, etc. This hotel is a guest room, hotel KTV, and hot spring hotel. On the second floor of the building at the northernmost end of the hotel is the KTV. At that time, their training place was in the KTV hall. During that time, a software called app was very popular. Just as we said earlier, this software was often played with a few colleagues who had a good relationship. One night before 9 o'clock, the training teacher went out to find the leadership and took a break temporarily. So Aming and 3 roommates took out their mobile phones to play. Their KTV mode is to enter a hall, and then there is a long corridor to the north, with boxes on both sides of the corridor, and the middle right of the corridor is the bathroom, and there is a big mirror on the sink of the bathroom, facing the corridor. Usually, this KTV is not visited except for the training room, and the corridor door to the box is also locked. That night, his software showed a light spot at the entrance of the corridor, about 2 or 3 meters inside, which means there is something. Then they went to the door of the corridor, pushed the door open, and looked inside from the crack of the door, trying to see if there was something. Because the door was locked, they couldn't get in. At this time, a manager's sister who usually played well with them came. This sister is 7 or 8 years older than them, and asked them why. Aming and they told the sister about this, and the sister thought that there was likely something abnormal inside after hearing it, and thought it was very interesting to talk about. By chance, she was a manager and had the key, so she opened the door and went in with them. The 5 guys with mobile phones were the first, Aming was the second, and the manager's sister was in the middle. Then, the other 2 little friends lined up to go in. After the KTV was photographed, no one had been there. It has always been locked and not powered on. Only a few tens of centimeters from the ground, there is a safety indicator light, green light for more than 10 meters. After the pedestrians entered, the light spot on the software disappeared. Well, when they walked into the bathroom, a few people would continue to go in. Aming just passed the position of the toilet, and the sister suddenly grabbed his arm hard. Before this sister had always been holding Aming's clothes in her hand, and Aming was startled by the sister's sudden pull, turned around and asked her what was wrong. The other few people stopped and asked what was wrong, but the sister didn't say anything, just said that she wanted to go out. At this time, Aming noticed that the sister's palm was full of sweat, cool, and called a few other people to go out. Those people went out for a while, and the training teacher came back, took the roll and made a summary speech, and the day's work was over. Everything here is normal, but what happened next made Aming and them unforgettable for the rest of their lives. After the training, those people went to the barbecue stall at the hotel entrance to eat and drink beer, which is almost their daily activity. The only difference is that there are more managers' sisters that day. After coming out of the corridor, she has been following Aming and them, not saying much. When she was asked, she just made a simple response. Well, after choosing a seat, drink some cold dishes first, and ask the sister what she saw in the box while drinking, but the sister just mumbled, saying nothing, but everyone knows. The more she doesn't say, the more curious Aming and they are. Drinking and chatting over there, the atmosphere is lively. Then they continued to ask, and this sister finally couldn't beat them. After taking a sip of water, she told them that she saw a long-haired woman in a light-colored floral dress in the mirror of the bathroom sink, but when Ming turned his head to look at her, the woman disappeared. Naturally, everyone asked her if you saw your own shadow in the mirror by mistake, because you were nervous and saw the flowers. Although the sister was sure that she was absolutely not wrong, Ming and they really didn't believe it, and then continued to drink. Just after 11 o'clock. At that time, the sister said she was sleepy and wanted to go back, and the hotel was across the road. She didn't drink. Ming let her go back by herself. The four brothers continued to drink until 1 o'clock in the morning before going back. Then go back. Passing by the leadership dormitory, the leadership dormitory is on the second floor. Ming saw the manager's sister on the third floor. The light at the door of her dormitory is on, and the general manager and the logistics director are still standing at this door. Just as the three of them were about to go upstairs, a hysterical scream came from the sister's room, and then they saw the sister rushing from the dormitory to the corridor. Later, two security uncles pressed her hard, and she rushed to Ming. She shouted at them to come over and let them send her back. Ming and they stopped. Then the general manager saw the four of them and asked them to hurry up and go. Don't look. They were just about to leave. The manager's sister went crazy and shouted at them. Don't come over. The general manager couldn't help it and said, come over and help. Well, after going there, the sister said some inexplicable things, saying that her name was Hong, saying that they disturbed her intimate relationship, so they couldn't die. Where did Ming and they see such a scene, and they didn't know what to say, they could only comfort the sister. At this time, the sister began to go crazy. 4 young people and 2 security uncles, 6 people barely pressed her together, and then pinched the person in the middle, sprinkled water and a series of operations, but it was completely useless. The sister's eyes seemed to be protruding, and her face was distorted and terrible. This feeling is not easy to describe, anyway, it is very abstract. In this way, it lasted for 4 or 5 minutes, and the sister gradually calmed down. Ming slowly let go, and she sat on the ground to rest. The manager's sister began to cry, and at this time she didn't say anything, just cried. The security uncles retreated to the corridor to smoke, and the general manager sent Ming and the 4 of them to the stairway to ask questions. And the roommate who lived with the manager's sister took care of her in the dormitory. Ming and the 4 of them told the general manager about the training at night. Of course, they avoided the heavy and didn't dare to say they went into the box. So after the general manager heard the report, he let them go back and rest first. As a result, he heard the sound of falling in the sister's dormitory, so he ran over quickly. But at this time, the dormitory door was locked from the inside, and the door couldn't be opened, and he heard the sister's roommate calling for help. The voice was getting smaller and more struggling. The general manager mentioned letting Ming and them climb in from the first floor window, and there happened to be a decoration ladder on the first floor, so they climbed up. Looking from the window, the manager's sister was strangling her roommate's neck, and her fingernails were embedded in the flesh. Ming and they hurriedly smashed the window and turned in, pulling them apart. At this time, the manager's sister began to laugh wildly, lying on the ground, and a group of people helped her roommate, not knowing what to do. At this time, it was good, and they could only guard, so around 2 o'clock in the morning, the manager's sister woke up and crawled on the ground slowly. Ming and the 4 of them, 2 in front and 2 behind, followed her not far and not near. The sister kept crawling to the dormitory, leading to the hotel's staff channel. The staff channel door is a KFC door, which can only be opened outward. The handle is about 1.2 meters. The door is very heavy, and it is difficult for boys to open. If the girl wants to open it, she usually needs to hold the handle with both hands and support it with her legs. The next scene shocked Ming and them. They saw the manager's sister crawl to the door, gently holding the lower right corner of the door with her left hand. There is absolutely no gap on the edge of the door. Don't say your fingers, it's hard to insert a bank card. Then they saw the sister slowly pull back, and the door opened directly. At that time, she didn't even touch the door handle, and then I am ready to assist you with translations. Please provide the text you need translated, and I'll be happy to help.